Oh hey, it's Emily, and I am gonna start this May reading vlog, the first one. I might do vlogs over a couple of weeks again like I did in April, or at least tried to do in April. We'll see how that goes, but I wanted to go ahead and open the first vlog. I'm starting this right after wrapping up the last April vlog that I did. And I'm just so excited about everything I have on deck for the month of May. Things have been crazy over the past few months, really, and reading for me recently has definitely needed to just be a fun escape from the chaos. And so a lot of that's going to continue this month, I think. But I'm so excited about everything. I'm hoping that I can get caught up through March for Fairy Loot and Book of the Month, so that what I have left is what I got in April for both of those, and you know, hopefully I can at least get to the point where it's just the April books that I have left to read. So let me show you what I'm starting with here. So as I mentioned in my TBR video, I'm currently reading the Atlas 6, so I will continue to read this one. This is the first adult book that Fairy Loot put out in their adult subscription box. It's a book-only subscription box. This is the first one they have, so I'm pretty excited. I'd been curious about this one, and so I'm excited to have a copy. And I'm enjoying this one a lot so far. It's a dark academia, and you're following some characters who are invited to try to become part of this secret society called the Alexandria Society. And it's pretty cool so far. I'm very intrigued by the characters. It is super pretentious, like the characters are, but it's just entertaining. It's just so entertaining, and I'm just so curious about what's going to happen during this year where they have 6 people and only 5 will actually be accepted, and so it is just going to be a bloodbath. But I'm very entertained. So I'm listening to that one on audio. I have also been following along physically for parts of it as I've been listening to the audio, but I would also like to start another book. I'm not sure what. One thing I mentioned was that I'm considering DNFing Witches Steeped in Gold, or not continuing to read Witches Steeped in Gold by Shannon Smart. I'm like 150 pages in, and it's just not working for me so far, and I'm not sure if I should give it another 50 pages or if I should just call it quits. So maybe I'll continue reading that one a little bit. I'm also just, I don't know what to pick next. I'm so intrigued by all of the books. I might pick up Hotel Magnifique next. The audiobook is not on Scribd, and the wait for the library is really long, so I either need to use an Audible credit if I want to listen to the audio of that, or just read it physically. So we'll see, or maybe I'll just pick up a young adult Fairy Loot. That's going to be, you know, a nice balance with the Atlas 6. So we'll see. Anyway, but I just wanted to go ahead and open this vlog here, and we'll see where my reading journey takes me for the month of May. Oh hey, it is Friday, May 6th, and I actually took the day off of work today. I just needed a day, you know? And I mean, I need more than one day, but this is what I could do for myself for the moment. So I've taken the day off of work, just to get a bunch of just personal stuff done that I've been wanting to get done. But I wanted to update on some of the reading that I've been able to do today. First of all, that I've been doing recently as well. I am on page 89 of Hotel Magnifique by Emily J. Taylor. And this one has been a lot of fun so far. So you follow our main character, and her sister actually gets hired to work for this hotel as a singer, and she doesn't want her younger sister to join or work for this hotel without her being there to look after her. And so she manages to get a job as a maid at this hotel. And this hotel, it's a magical hotel that changes location all the time, and you know, again, Magic Hotel, there's a bunch of really cool stuff that is going on with this hotel. Actually, this hotel really reminds me of the Hotel Dracanium from Nevermore. I feel like if you like Nevermore, I feel like you're gonna like the vibes in this one a lot. And yeah, so just having a fun time. Just a couple of weird things are starting to happen, and so our main character is trying to just learn a little bit more about what's going on and about this hotel, and she's figuring out some different things. So we're not too far into the story yet, but I'm intrigued and having a good time with this one so far. I'm also, I think, more than half, maybe not quite 2/3 of the way through. I'm on page 223 of The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake, and this one has also been a ton of fun so far. I'm really loving this one. I'm loving the audio experience too. They have different narrators for the different characters, and I like almost all of the narrators. So it's been a fun experience so far. This one is definitely... I haven't read too much Dark Academia, but I feel like if you, in general, like Dark Academia, like I feel like this will be a solid choice for you to continue down that path. And there are a lot of conversations that happen. So this isn't a book that's constantly on the go, moving with the plot, and like exciting things happening, like external things happening to these characters. A lot of it has to do with the conversations that they have as a group and the conversations they have between each other, and them trying to figure each other out in this game that they're playing, where 6 of them have been brought in, but only 5 of them will actually be joining the society. And so they're trying to figure each other out. They don't trust each other. They're trying to figure out who they can potentially maybe trust or even just ally with for a while. They're trying to figure out what to do and what to think about each other. And so a lot of it is just them playing mind games with each other and just trying to draw that out in various conversations. So it's definitely intriguing. So if you like that kind of vibe, I feel like you'll really like this. And so the characters are definitely interesting. As I said before, very pretentious, but they're definitely very interesting characters. So having a very good time with this one. They're finding some things out about the society and about this selection process. And yeah, they're just trying to figure out, they're discovering things and researching and just trying to learn different things now that they have access to some of these resources and some of this knowledge. So some of it is about just their interest in their research and what they're learning while they're in this environment. And then a lot of it is just kind of the games that they're playing with each other. So anyway, the other thing that I have been reading, these I've been reading throughout the week. What I've been reading today is Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller, and I did this for a couple of reasons. One, I wanted to listen to an audiobook while I was doing other things today, and I wanted one that it's not that I wouldn't pay attention to it, but I needed an audiobook where if I missed a couple of things here and there, I still would know what was going on. I would still be able to enjoy the story. And so I needed just something that was just fun, fast-paced, but not, wouldn't take too much brain power. And so I have read Trisha Levenseller before and actually really enjoyed The Shadows Between Us. I was in the mood for something exactly like The Shadows Between Us when I read it, and had a fun time with it. So I kind of at least have some experience with Trisha Levenseller's writing and kind of the vibes of her book, or of her books. And I also know that I love sea ship pirate based fantasies, including YA ship sea pirate based fantasy stories, including ones like Fable and Namesake by Adrienne Young. And so I knew I had the potential to like a story like this, and I'm familiar with Trisha Levenseller's writing, so I figured it would be something that I would just have a good time with and be able to listen to today. The second reason, and the primary reason that I specifically wanted to listen to this one, is because Fairy Loot is going to be doing a special edition of this duology, and I'm tempted because I saw the pictures on their Instagram of what these special editions are going to look like, and they are beautiful. I'm tempted. But I wanted to at least see if I was enjoying the story before making a decision about whether or not I wanted to get them. Anyway, so I've been reading Daughter of the Pirate King. I'm having a great time with it. It's exactly what I expected it to be. It's exactly, again, what I was in the mood for. It's exactly what I wanted out of listening to this audiobook. I'm enjoying the narrator. I'm enjoying our main character. She's just a fun, spunky main character who has been trained by her dad, the Pirate King, to kind of just be a hard-ass pirate bitch lady. And, she knows how to fight, she knows how to defend herself, she knows how to carry herself in a world of pirates, and knows how to handle herself on a ship. And so she's been given a task by her father to find other pieces of a specific map. And so she basically, there's kind of a scheme for her to essentially be taken prisoner by another crew that her father thinks might have another piece of this map. And so, it's her as a prisoner on this ship, and her experience, and her trying to fulfill her mission for her father, and learning more about the other people on this ship. And it's just been fun. And it's been an easy thing to listen to today. And again, I love just fun pirate-based fantasies that aren't designed to be taken too seriously, but just you follow some hard-ass folks on a crew on a ship that do pirate things, but really want to have a heart of gold. It's fun. So having a good time with it. But yeah, I'm like 2/3 of the way through it at this point. It's not a long audiobook, which is another reason why I wanted to listen to it, because I figured I could at least, if not finish it today, at least get a good chunk of it listened to today, and then I could just go ahead and knock it out and then continue with either the Atlas 6 or Hotel Magnifique. So that was another reason. It's a 7.5-hour audiobook, and I'm listening at 1.85 speed, so it's not going to take very long to get through. But yeah, enjoying myself, having a good time. So I'm going to go get some more things done, but just wanted to check in on how reading is going, and yeah. So it is a week later, and I'm going to give you an update. I meant to check in a bit earlier this week, and that just did not happen, but I did finish last Friday. I took a day off, had a lovely day, and I was listening to Daughter of the Pirate King. I did finish that on that Friday last week before dinner. I don't have much more to say about it. It was exactly what I expected. It was just fun young adult fantasy, and I don't know, it was exactly what I expected from Trisha Levenseller's writing. It's relatively fast-paced, easy to listen to, not really a ton to think about, which is what I needed at the time. And it was just enjoyable. It was fun. And again, I love sea and pirate-based fantasy stories, so this was just exactly what I expected and what I wanted. I was also at the time reading The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake, and I have since finished this one. I also don't have much more to say about this one. I've given a basic premise, and actually not a ton happens in this one, so if you're wanting anything that's super fast-paced, that's not this. This is heavily centered around the 6 characters, and the audiobook is great because they have a different narrator for each of the characters. So I really enjoyed the audiobook. And again, they are initiated into this process to potentially become part of this society. They're trying to figure out the other people that are in this class of initiates. So they're trying to figure each other out, size each other up, and then they discover something about the initiation process. And so part of it is centered around them discovering that and how that changes some of the dynamics, and they need to figure some things out. But really, it is just a lot of conversations between these characters, and that's a good portion of the book. It's not very fast paced, but it was definitely very interesting. I was intrigued the whole time, and I'm definitely intrigued based on what happened at the end. I'm very intrigued to see what happens next. So that's really all I have to say about this one. It was a good time, and I'm excited to continue there. I was also reading Hotel Magnifique by Emily J. Taylor. This one was also very enjoyable. I really loved this one. This is a young adult story, and it's compared to The Night Circus, but I think only in there's a magical setting that goes to different places every so often. So this is a hotel that goes to a different place every day at midnight, and there's definitely a lot of magic involved, and the writing is definitely young adult. Like, the writing is not at all kind of in the same vein as like A Night Circus. So for example, it's a much more straightforward writing style than, for example, Erin Morgenstern's writing, but still a lot of fun. You're following, again, a younger character, and she's trying to protect her sister, and so it's definitely, it was just a lot of fun. It was, so kind of the vibes at the beginning, as far as the actual hotel and kind of the magic around it, again, really reminded me of the hotel in Nevermore, the Hotel Dracanium. And so it was super fun. It was like, if that hotel just got super dark and twisted, that was the vibes of this. The hotel, there's a lot of magic going on around the hotel, and there are different contracts that are signed for the people who are staying there versus the staff. And so our main character just keeps finding out more twisted things about this hotel, and she's trying to do what she can to protect herself and her sister from this. And it was super intriguing, and again, I loved kind of it getting darker and a bit more twisted, almost into some horror elements with this, and I had a good time. I enjoyed the ride. Just super entertaining, fun. Again, not the most fast-paced book or anything. She's still talking to other characters and trying to figure out what's going on. So that takes up a good portion of the book. And but I enjoyed the ride, as I said. Super fun. And again, just kept getting darker and darker and a bit more twisted. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. So what I'm currently reading is the January Fairy Loop book, Only a Monster by Vanessa Lynn. I've only barely started this, and I'm getting intrigued. I'm getting intrigued by this one. I'll talk more about this one later. I'm also listening to The Owl of Law by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first book in the second era Mistborn series, and it is so nice to be back into this world. It's definitely a different vibe, but it also still feels like I'm back in the Mistborn world. And this one is already pretty funny. I've laughed a few times as I'm listening to this one. Michael Kramer narrates, and I really enjoy his narration. So it's fun to be back in this world. It's fun to be listening to a Michael Kramer book again. And I'm having a good time. And this one follows Wax, who has kind of gone through some stuff, and it is in a position to kind of inherit one of the noble houses, but his house is kind of in shambles based on some things that his uncle did running this family and running this household. And so he's trying to do what he can to recover his household's reputation and financial resources. So he's trying to find a wife who can be a good match for him in terms of just the politics of these families. So anyway, and that's really all that's happened so far. But again, just great to be back in this world, loving the vibes, and it's a good time. It's just a funny, good time. And there's definitely an intense scene that opens this book, but anyway, I'm having a good time with it. So I will check in again, hopefully early next week, and then kind of wrap this up. We'll see how much reading I can do this weekend. I probably won't film much this weekend, but hopefully I can at least get some reading done. And yeah. Oh, hey, it is Thursday, the 19th of May, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this vlog. I think when I last checked in, I had started the first book in the second era Mistborn series, The Alloy of Law. I have finished that, and that one was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. I did listen to the audiobook. It was so much fun, as I said, to be back in that world, and I like Michael Kramer's narration a lot, and this one was just fun. I let Brandon Sanderson take me for a ride. It's fun. It's definitely a different vibe than the first one. I think I mentioned, but you still, at least I still also very much felt like I was in the Mistborn world. Like, it wasn't such a different vibe that it felt like a completely different series. Like, I could definitely tell that it was the Mistborn world, just slightly different vibe, slightly different time, and I can definitely see that it might not work for some people who are used to or want the Mistborn world back when the first books are set, because there's a huge time spread here, and so it can feel a little different or feel a little weird, and the dialogue or the style of dialogue doesn't change a ton, so it can, I can understand, be a little jarring to have the world change, but some other things about it not change. But anyway, I had a fun time. This follows Wax, who I think I mentioned the setup is that he needs to find himself a bride, a rich bride. Basically, his family is kind of in ruins from what his uncle has done. He's kind of one of the noble houses, so he needs to kind of get back in the good graces of the other noble houses. So he needs another family, or to marry into another family that's got the financial and political connections that his family used to have, and he needs to kind of bring them back to. And so he's working on that, and also there are some people who have gone missing, and so he's trying to solve this with Wayne. And so our two main characters are Wax and Wayne, and so it's them trying to solve the mystery of what's happening to these people. Well, I say some people are disappearing, some people are getting kidnapped, but also mostly it starts out as robberies that are happening and some people being held hostage. And so anyway, they're trying to solve this mystery, and it's kind of, it does have a Western vibe for sure. There are guns, there are trains. Our main character has spent a lot of time kind of in the Mistborn world's version of out west, where there's not much in terms of, you know, what they know of in that time as civilization, you know, not much law enforcement, etc. But it was just fun. And yes, you know, is there attempts at humor in otherwise very serious moments that maybe for some doesn't work? Yeah, but I just let, as I said, Brandon Sanderson take me for a ride, and I just thought it was entertaining and fun and funny. So I had a good time with that one. I'm excited to continue, and I'm excited for the fourth one to come out later this year. I am still reading Only a Monster physically. This one has been a bit slow going because I've been more intrigued by the audiobooks that I've been listening to, including Alloy of Law and the next one I'm going to talk about. So I'm about halfway, not quite halfway through this one. It's fine. It's not super grabbing me. I don't remember how much I've talked about this one in this vlog. This one follows Joan, who is trying to help out a neighbor at the beginning of the book, and then all of a sudden like skips a little bit of time. It's later that evening, but it just happened instantaneously, and she's trying to figure out what's going on and realizes that her family are monsters, and in this world monsters can steal time from humans. And so she accidentally stole a little bit of time from this person that she was trying to help. But she figures out that her family are monsters, and she figures out that someone that she thought was a friend, he's actually a monster hunter. And, there's a whole situation that happens where he's targeting her family and another monster family, so she needs to actually team up with one of the other people from this monster family, and their families are actually rivals, and she needs to partner up with him to kind of figure out what they can do to save their families. And so, it's been okay so far. There have been some parts that have been intriguing and fun, and some parts that are just kind of dragging for me. And as I said, I think the intrigue factor has been higher for some other books that I've been reading, so it's been a little bit slower with this one. I'm not really considering stopping this right now. Like, I still do want to continue at this point. But it's been fun enough, but just not really capturing me at the moment. So my intrigue recently has been higher for the next book I want to talk about, and that is The Cartographers by Peng Shepherd. And this one has been so much fun so far. So you're mostly following Now. Would recommend the audiobook, by the way, which is how I'm reading this one. Emily Wu Zeller is our main narrator. There are also a few other narrators for some perspectives that are kind of sprinkled in, but audiobook is fabulous. Anyway, you're mostly following Now. Before the story starts, she and her father had a major argument. So they're both cartographers. He's been working for the New York Public Library for a long time. She's trying to get a position there. She's an intern there after getting her PhD. And she is in the uncatalogued things kind of in the basement. I'm just trying to see if there are any hidden gems. And she comes across a few things that she thinks are worth a lot. And there's kind of one other thing in that set of documents that she thinks is a worthless gas station map from the 1930s, focused on a part of New York. So she brings that just collection of papers to her father, and she's showing him the ones that she thinks are of value, and he says, no, those are fakes, and this other gas station map is a useless map, like, go put them away. Why are you digging around in the uncatalogued stuff right now? You have more important things to be doing, blah blah blah. They have this huge argument because she is convinced that these first couple of maps that she had been pointing out to him are the real deal. She thinks they're incredibly valuable, and she wants to look through some more of this box of uncatalogued things to see if there's anything else of value. But he stakes his reputation on it and convinces his director at the New York Public Library to fire his daughter, or he was threatening to quit over this argument. And so she hasn't really spoken to him for a long time since that happened. And so she's working somewhere else. He's kind of blacklisted her from it's a small world, and so she hasn't really been able to find the kinds of jobs that she wants in the cartography industry since then. She has one position that she's not really that excited about. But at the beginning of the story, her father passes away, and she's going through his effects, and in his effects she sees what he had said at the time was a useless gas station map of New York in the 1930s. And she's like, why would he have kept that all this time? It was part of the set of documents that we had an argument over, and, you know, she hadn't really thought much about it, but she's like, why did he still keep this in his personal effects in kind of a special area? And she's wanting to log more information about it in the system, and realizes that every other copy of this map has been hunted down and destroyed or stolen, or in some other way is no longer available. And so then she gets really suspicious. Like, why did her father hang on to this? Why have other copies been destroyed? She's trying to figure out what's going on. So she gets kind of caught up in this mystery of what's going on. She needs to contact some other people in the cartography industry, and she's trying to figure out what's going on. She's starting to dig into her dad's past a bit to figure out what's happening, kind of talking to some of his old connections, and she's figuring out what might be special about this map. There's kind of a slightly magical, speculative element to this that's added in there that I think is super fun, and just the intrigue has been super high. As I said, I'm really loving our main character. I'm loving the mystery aspect of this. I think this has been relatively fast-paced. She's trying to just go from place to place to figure things out, or she's going from person to person and really trying to figure out what's going on and trying to stick to her guns until she really figures out why this map is being hunted down, because she feels like she's also at risk as someone who has the last copy, and, you know, the people who have been targeting these other copies know that, or like have found that out. And so she's trying to figure out what's going on, but she's also trying to protect herself and, you know, again, figure out why her father died. Was it because of this map? You know, what did this have anything to do with his death? There are some other suspicious things that start happening. Anyway, it's been super fun. Just things keep happening, things keep moving, and it's been really entertaining. And so I have been absolutely loving this. I have about 90 pages left, I think. It's under 100 pages that I have left of this one. So I'm not quite done. We'll see how it ends, but very intrigued. So I'm gonna go. I need to get back to work, or get back to the rest of my lunch break before I get back to work. But yeah, I will wrap it up here. My next vlog will include me finishing the Cartographers. The next book that I think will be on deck is Daughter of the Moon Goddess, and I'm very excited about that. So yeah, I will close this one out here and then open up a new vlog shortly. So thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe below for more bookish content, and I will also leave my Twitter and Instagram link down below, as well as more information about how you can support the Black Lives Matter movement, and I will see you in the next one. Bye everyone.